ECR Minerals have provided an update on the diamond drilling at the Duke of Cornwall prospect within its Tambo gold project in Victoria, Australia. Recent results from 90 additional core samples highlight progress in confirming gold mineralization and refining geological interpretations. Well, joining us live right now is CEO Nick Tulloch. Nick, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well. Thanks, Mark. Thank you very much for having me.
No, it's good, and it's good to be doing this nice and live. Get it out immediately. We don't do that so often. I know we're resourcing tomorrow. We did a lot of live, but thank you for joining us in the moment today. So let's just go through some of these results then that have come out. So you've drilled you looked at 5 holes in total here, 439 meters, targeting areas beneath the historic workings of the Duke of Cornwall mine to assess the grade continuity and structural geological structure. So let's just go through these here. You say that the results have confirmed the vertical gold continuity at least 70 meters below historic workings, aligning closely with historic grades at circa 10 grams per ton gold. So what are these results telling you then, and what was the objective of this exercise?
Well, actually, Mark, you've given a good summary of it. So the objective is we've done in the past surface sampling. So we're taking rock chips, which have been extremely successful, and those were announced a few months ago. The drilling campaign, which is the first diamond drilling campaign that the company's done on Tambo, was, stating the obvious, designed to find out what was under the ground. And what we've shown in the announcement that went out a couple of days back is that we have discovered gold at depth. Now, let's just put this in context. We drilled 5 holes, as you say, 439 meters in total. We've got results back from 3, and 2 more still to come. But what we're seeing from the results is what we've got on the surface has been matched below. So that was the objective. We're very pleased. It is successful. And let's see what the next 2 holes say.
Excellent. So what you're seeing on the surface is indeed matched below. So that was your objective, and effectively you've met that here. So that's obviously very good, isn't it? That you're seeing what you hope to see.
Yeah, I mean, without being too simplistic, if you're drilling looking for gold and you strike gold, then tick in the box. You've done what you started with.
Indeed.
But yeah, I am being a little bit simplistic. The objective is to determine the scale of what the resource might be. I got a very good analogy from someone, or I thought it was a good analogy, a few days back. It's rather like the childhood game of battleships. And what we've done is, with the surface sampling, we know there's gold at surface. We know from historical workings there's gold at surface. What we've now done with the drilling is we've established there are veins of gold and veins of mineralization beneath. And so it's rather like on that battleship screen, there's an aircraft carrier or a cruiser. It's somewhere within that grid. But as you drill through the drill through the Tambo region, you're trying to work out exactly where you strike mineralization.
Okay, so you're sort of looking, for that aircraft carrier effectively, and the RNS mentioned this main load. Is that the aircraft carrier? You say you intercepted at a depth of 62 meters?
It could be the aircraft carrier and the destroyer all lined up together. I mean, that's the main zone of mineralization. I mean, what would be lovely, of course, is if veins of gold or minerals ran in sort of perfectly straight lines and you could track them. Of course, nature has a different way, and they'll move and they'll change shape and they'll change width. So as you drill a narrow diamond hole through the veins, you're going to catch a small cross section of them. And that's what we've done. And we've shown in the announcement the depth and also the extent of the gold findings of the mineralization, and it's given us enough on those first 3 holes to say there's quite a lot of interest at Tambo. Tambo's been the least explored part of the Victorian assets of ECR, but I think what we've seen in the last few announcements is that it's got quite a lot of merit.
Okay, so when you talk about sort of what could be in these sort of gaps here, is that when you talk about these sort of cleavage veins that you talk about and the main lode hosting the high grades? So how does the recent results help you understand sort of structural underneath it in the surface here, the geology?
Well, I suppose we start with the historic workings, and we've said in our announcement the results we're getting match the historic grades. What's been consistent in what we've done in Victoria is we're not the first people to tread here. We've gone to areas where many years ago, in some cases 150 years ago, our tenements have been previously explored. But with more modern techniques, the ability to go a little bit deeper, the ability to look, I suppose, with a bit more detail on what we have, we're beginning to find that actually those historic miners were absolutely in the right place. And what is, just in back to my battleship analogy, just the beginning of that picture as to where the veins of mineralization may be.
Okay. And a comment from your geologist, Adam, there said results thus far indicate strong potential for high-grade gold mineralization along the strike and depth of the system. So is this sort of shaping up to be sort of what could be a very viable gold project here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, I'm a very cautious individual, but yeah, set it in context. We've had some terrific rock chip examples. We've had some very strong analogies with historic workings in the area, and what these first three holes are showing us, and particularly how we announced it earlier this week, is that there is high grade gold at depth. Now we've got high grade gold near the surface. We've got high grade gold historically. We've got high grade gold at depth. It's a case of joining the dots to see how it all fits together. But I think when you're getting 60 some meters down and you're getting 10 grams per ton, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, and that merits quite a lot of further examination.
Okay, so talking about joining dots then, and really what comes next with further examination. I know you've got some more assays due before the end of the year, which will probably help you, show you more, and you can probably put that into your next stage of modelling here. But what we're looking like as we sort of enter into Q1 for perhaps further exploration here on the ground.
Well, there's results from two more holes still to come. We're hoping to get those in the near term. Christmas is looming up towards us, but we're hoping to get those ahead of that time. That will inform what we do next. But stating the obvious, if we've demonstrated there are veins of gold running deep into the ground, we're going to want to know more about them. So we'll be looking at further drilling campaigns, further sampling campaigns as we build that picture of what we've got. As I say, Tambo has not been well explored by ECR. It was looked at some years back, and then it rather sort of sat on the shelf. So we've come back to it. This was part of the strategy when I still talk about when Mike and I joined the company, sort of 15 months ago, but it still feels that's when sort of the new strategy came in place. We said we were going to look at all of the assets in our portfolio. We said that a big advantage of ECR was the extent of the portfolio that the company had, but we didn't feel that it had been properly examined. And so what we've done systematically over the last 15 months and on an ongoing basis is to go tenement by tenement to understand exactly what we've got. And as you know, we've had big success at Blue Mountain, which is looking like that's capable of production. And I'd say also big success at Tambo as well, which is not well understood by the company previously. But what we're seeing is there is potentially a very interesting system under the surface.
Okay, good. And just a final thought on then sort of what's to come sort of throughout the course of the early part of next year. I know you're sort of mostly cashed up, I think, for activities throughout the course of 2025, but you've explained the strategy quite well there. You've sort of gone and looked at all the projects, and Tambo and Blue Mountain are seeing a good potential there. Would you then look to basically focus in on perhaps those two projects and any other projects in the portfolio, just kind of put on the back burner and explore the ones with the most potential?
I mean, yes, to an extent. I didn't mention Lulworth, which has also been very successful for us. I think what we've found is that all of our projects have merit, but the objective of going through tenement by tenement was to see where the most merit was. And the three that stand out, I mean, not necessarily in this order, but Blue Mountain in Queensland, where we have the capability of going into production or exploring the capability of going into production. Lulworth, which is by far and away our biggest tenement, which has come up with a number of interesting results. Again, these are all announced. These are all surface results. And then Tambo, which both at surface and at depth is showing that there's potential very interesting mineralization there. So those are the three that stand out. I mean, 3 out of 6 is pretty good odds on a first 15 months worth of work.
Indeed. Okay. Well, I look forward to hearing the plans then. Hopefully, we don't have to wait too long into the new year to hear of further exploration plans for ECR. Just before we finish, Nick, just the tax losses.
Yes.
Any update on the tax losses?
I mean, some. We're in regular correspondence, as you can imagine, with the potential buyer. I last spoke to them yesterday. The correspondence will continue as we sort of get into the Christmas period. The objective, and this was announced as well a little while back, is to aim to complete this before the end of January. I've always said it's a complicated process, but with each conversation and with each, I suppose, step of the process, we're getting a lot closer. I mean, next steps are to determine exactly what the structure is going to be, and the structure matters to the buyer, of course, because they need the tax losses to be valid in their business. What matters to us is the price. The two will be a function of each other, but I think we're getting very, very close now to be able to determine that. And once that is set, then it's a case of just documenting it. That's sort of over to the lawyers at that point, and we look to close out. So good progress, good conversations with them, and I would say we're still on track.
Okay, good. Well, thank you very much for joining us today live. Nick Tulloch, the CEO of ECR Minerals.
Thank you, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programmes at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.